Oh, we're back, apparently. We're here with our second series of the day, as I'm joined once again by Joshi and Rafa from that first series. What an incredible cast on the day, fellas. I'm excited to get you guys to cast the second series, but we have a hype one. I've been looking forward to this one all day, but looking forward to it all week, actually. Dignitas QNTMPAY Academy taking on Cloud9 Academy.
And I gotta say, the thing that we're gonna be talking about today is it's Dignitas versus Cloud9, where Dignitas, as we were talking about previously, were having a great series of games through the first half, but now we're starting to see that a lot of teams seem to have kind of understood the style that Dignitas go for. There's a lot of emphasis on XU making early plays across the map, and if you can resist that, it can oftentimes be very difficult for Dignitas to actually find some of their wins. And Cloud9, one of the most experienced teams in the entire league, going to be trying to slow things down for Malice to Farm.
A little bit of time stop tonic or something along those lines. We do have Cloud9's roster coming up here as well, just showing off a little bit of the names we have here. But they've really found a stride.
Yes.
The other thing, too, that you have to talk about is how significantly different their play style is versus every other Academy team so far. And we kind of mentioned it during the first series of the day when we saw our male lock in the Udyr. It was like, only Cloud9 has really played this champion in both iterations with the subs in Frost Force, or now they're starting jungler Malice, right? But it is true, because Cloud9 does not kind of bend to the early aggressive pathing from some of the junglers like the Jarvan or the Lee Sin or the Xin Zhao, right? They're playing a more controlled game style because, as Josh mentioned before, it's all about, hey, we are going to be stronger than you the later the game goes on, and we are very confident in our laners to play out lane safely. We will not fall to any mistakes, and we won't be allowing the team any windows where you can get a snowball in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing that come out. But a main piece to this is the Dignitas side, because it's the other side of the table. We got to talk about the competition here. Come on. Because Malice's Zone Rate has made waves into the Academy scene this split itself. Yeah. But on the other side, you have one of our star-studded junglers of the Academy scene in XU, and somebody who has shown he has what it takes to go up against this tough competition.
And Mark, I know this is your boy, so go off.
Well, XU, when he gets the Lee Sin, I think he did finally lose one game on the Lee Sin, but it's an overwhelmingly large win rate. So XU and the rest of Dignitas, as a team, not many of us, in fact, almost the entire Academy on-air team was confident that Dignitas was going to be one of the bottom-of-the-barrel teams. But Dignitas, what they have done since the very beginning that not a lot of Academy teams were confidently able to do, is commit all as one unit. Even if the play was bad, even if the play was not as great, everyone was on board and everyone trusted each other. And you can see through their content and through behind-the-scenes look that the Dignitas squad, they're a bunch of friends now. They're a bunch of homies there, and they're all vibing with each other on the Rift, and so they are willing to believe in each other when they go for very crazy early aggressive plays. Exio and JJ really the early engine that drives the tempo for this team.
Yeah, and speaking of XU, I do want to go ahead and bring up the clock reference that you had earlier, Joshi, because XU is going to have to do something here, and it's going to be very telling early, at least I feel like, what we're going to get today.
We're going to be seeing quite a bit, right? Dignitas trying to outrun Malice throughout this entire game is going to be the core way that Dignitas needs to play. They need to make sure that they never let Malice actually prove the fact that his slightly more greedy style is going to be worth anything. And we got to see a fantastic display of that earlier in the day where Golden Guardians were trying to play up against Team Liquid doing that. But here, XU, we're going to see, like, he's very aggressive, right? His trigger pull is second to basically none in the entirety of the Academy. He's always willing to make plays, and because he's so aggressive that way, the rest of the team is always ready to follow him up.
That was against Santorin. On the Trundle, by the way. It doesn't stop, right? Like, anytime you see this guy's Lee Sin, you're seeing highlight-worthy clips.
Yeah, the thing that I love watching about the Dignitas squad in general is what I like to call presence of mind, or some other people will call visualization. The ability to plan out how their fights are going to look beforehand and just know, hey, if I see this button, if I see this thing happen, I'm going to capitalize on it. So here, XU, right, just notice he didn't go for the second part of the queue immediately. He ward hops in order to get a couple more auto attacks to make sure they have enough XQ damage at the very end. And there, of course, you know, when your AD carry just misses their Q, you gotta take it for yourself. It's like, nah, sorry, you don't get this anymore.
Yeah, XU is willing to take that snowball
It's
into
mine.
his own hands, and I think Josh and Mad Magical were on a game where he had 5 kills, completed a Gore Drinker by 8 minutes. So when
Yep.
you're able to completely warp the game that fast, then you have a win con to play against something like Cloud9 roster that is all about, hey, you guys are on a clock. You better shut us down early on, or we're outscaling you.
Yeah.
And speaking of the clock running after Dignitas Academy is Malice.
Yep.
And the fact that you have to watch out for this guy. He will farm you under the table.
And get ready for a bit of a very fast montage coming through because the clock is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. Malice is farming and he's getting ready to press R from all around the rift. Every single time. This man is scaling. Oh, it's not quite in the order that I originally had intended it, but just watch the fact that he's constantly able to do all this, and the CS lead that he has constantly growing, right? You know, 30, 50, 70 CS at different points of the game because he is constantly out farming you and he doesn't even need to be near you to interact. Just presses R, is going to be very happy, and we'll see what version of that he's going to be playing today, right? He is absolutely crazy on the Karthus, the Udyr, and the Hecarim, but of course, we can never forget that he creates such a huge wild card in the game by his willingness to play Evelynn.
Yeah, and the Evelynn itself was terrifying. He tweeted out that day, was like, oh, my Evelynn was so rusty. I was personally scared watching that game. Like, I was terrified.
It's not even his final form.
It's not even his final form, and I'm terrified. But you see at the bottom of the screen, like, the difference that there is between these two junglers, right? Like, the gold difference of 15 is skyrocketing for Malice.
Yeah, and the huge thing to notice here is that while XU aggressive playstyle can find gold differences, the consistency of that versus what Malice has been able to amount is so stark, right?
Yeah.
Because Malice, when he has given time to farm, and Cloud9 after the one series against Golden Guardians on the opening day, they've had a fairly above average, consistent way of allowing Malice to consistently have those gold leads, right? He's able to farm his way contently, and most of the other teams that they've gone up against have not had a chance to shut that down. Whereas XU, it's been pretty much 50-50, which is why Dignitas are an even win and loss record going into the second round robin of the split.
Yeah.
It is very exciting. Guys, I did get word we are ready. So let's see what kind of spice we get today from Dignitas and Cloud9 as we go into draft number 1 of our second series.
Thailand.
It's always sad when either he or Kangas leaves us. I'm telling you,
Well,
Josh, one of these
not
days
always
we're
sad.
gonna...
I'm not leaving yet. I'm
Oh,
still here.
okay, TriCast, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
we're just going to try. I get to cast? Yes.
It's the
Yeah,
tri- you remember when-
Mazella's been casting up a storm over on the LPL, you know, but...
Remember when this is how they used to do TriCast, is that have 2 play-by-plays in one color?
Yes, that was season 4. It was basically because the way I viewed it was the games were so chaotic back then that the play-by-plays weren't quite ready to take on all of that chaos, so they had to split it up between 2.
See,
And then you only needed 1 color caster because there wasn't much time to really break in between. The games were just so crazy and fast.
I love it. All right, now we are really ready. All right, so we're
Bye,
going to go
Leonard.
ahead and scoot you guys out the door. I got the broom, and goodbye. Have fun with the game.
see, I always thought it was just because the colors just needed 2 big play-by-plays to make them feel warm and safe, right? With everything that's going on, there's so much action happening that the colors just scared. It's too high adrenaline for us. So as we start jumping into this, notice that Dignitas are skipping out on 2 of the most banned champions ever, and Caitlyn and Zeri, in order to make sure that they can ban Karthus and Evelynn. That does mean that at least one of these primated carries is going to be making it through for Cloud9.
If I'm Dignitas, I'm banning the Zeri.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it at all, because not only can King play it, but we saw Darshan, I think, pick up a quadra kill during week 3 when they got their hands on it. So more potent as a flex pick, whereas with the Caitlyn, at least you know where it's going. No one else is going to be playing Caitlyn mid or Caitlyn top. This will be an easy answer for Dignitas, and they're going to go with the Jhin, which we have seen have, for the most part, decent success against the Caitlyn in general.
Yeah, generally pretty good. Ooh, okay, got to go back to the Katarina, right? Again, reference to his girlfriend.
That's right.
Very romantic, but I do like seeing what Dignitas is already doing. They're creating some early game pressure that they can put out up against Caitlyn. If you ever land that W, get the captive audience, suddenly you're in a fantastic spot. And what do you know? Hey, bish, bang, boom. We got XU's Lee Sin. We got Malice on the Udyr. Not a whole lot of surprises coming through, but the big problem that we are going to have to pay attention to from the members of Dignitas is they are on a clock, and they are in a spot where they are going to have to be on the back foot basically the entire time, just because Caitlyn plus anything is going to be super dominant in lane.
This is the ultimate test between these two junglers. This is a moment where XU has to prove that he can completely warp the map on his best champion versus Malice, who, I mean, other than Armeo today, no one else really has played the Udyr so far. So one could say that it is a signature Malice champion, although I'm more keen to associating him with the Karthus and the Evelynn. But it's just an example of, like, can XU on his best champion beat Malice on a playstyle that, you know, is really time dependent? And now Dignitas, I would say you want to build the rest of the composition with tools that allow the Lee Sin to have success more consistently for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and honestly, already at this point in the game, Dignitas are pretty committed to running over Cloud9, right? This is exactly what we were saying at the very beginning. You need to find ways to make sure that you can build these early leads, and XU can outpath. That's something that I actually talked with him a bit ago about his ability to find these angles in order to understand where he's a little bit faster, where he's going to be the one who's going to lock down members and get to the play before his opponent, has been absolutely crucial to his ability to understand how these early game paths are actually working out. So I also really like the shift that we are seeing, the Sion ban up against Darshan, something that he played to great effect because it is unkillable by this team, right? Jhin can't do diddly squat to Sion. Lee Sin doesn't do anything to Sion whatsoever. They just walk around and he's basically happy that he's getting tickled. So the other thing that we have to be careful of, though, is that Sion is not the only champion that this is true of. There are a lot of tanks still available for Darshan to try and pick up, where he becomes an unkillable menace like the Dr. Mundo.
Ornn also a great option for Darshan. Can be a little prone to being counterpicked by Eclipse, but Dignitas could also make the option of saving counterpick for Darkwings, as Cloud9 have not shown what they intend for copy, and taking away Camille would have been a nice blind pick for Eclipse.
I mean, I think they're probably going to be trying to give the counterpick over to Eclipse no matter what. So the only question here is, what is Darkwings likely to be blind picking? There's a lot of champions. Oh my gosh.
What?
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, right?
I think Darkwings did play an Ivern game last week.
Did he?
If I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I know Pretty did multiple times. I don't remember Darkwings doing it.
Yeah, I think there was actually an Ivern game from Dignitas. I'll have to go back and check, but, you know, they flashed it just to say, hey, we know this is the thing that you guys came up with, just a little bit of respect, but Corky being a safe blind pick. Victor is still available to answer from Copy if he wants to lay it down, but the Tryndamere, something that both Darshan and Copy have played to great success.
Yeah. Okay, so you are right. Darkwings did play it. I remember now. I don't remember because I purged this game from my memory because he went 0-6 and 1 up against CLG. It was a slacking, shall we say. But this is a situation where this Tryndamere is never going top. You play this Tryndamere into the Corki in order to create more pressure, right? Because we are once again seeing a spot where Corki doesn't do a whole lot early on in the game. He's really, really weak, and now that we're on 12-3, his ability to affect the game in the mid game is pushed back as well. And so suddenly, Tryndamere gets a free lane. Udyr is basically going to be free in his own jungle, and the pressure that Cloud9 are putting on Dignitas to win, to prove that these early game champions are ever worth playing, is becoming really, really difficult because they didn't pick a strong early game mid, they didn't pick a strong early game top, and so the only advantage that this team really has is later on in the game, they have crazy range between Corki and Jhin.
Trying to poke out the members of Cloud9 before they get a chance to engage. And speaking of which, it's really up to Darshan to find those engages, or Malice just running in at turbo speed with both Ghost and Chemtank to start things off.
Yeah, there's a lot of play back and forth between these two teams, but I gotta say, as the game goes later and later, the only thing that I'm worried about on the side of Dignitas is Corki. Right, he creates a lot of pressure. The Rockets didn't really get changed. The only real pressure that has been put on this champion is the fact that his package was pushed later. So he doesn't have the same kind of guaranteed engage, the same kind of guaranteed ability to be aggressive. But Dignitas, again, they're not super excited to be hitting most of these targets. The only real person they can do damage to effectively is going to be Caitlyn. And then Lux will also be there, but I'm expecting it to be probably a Crown of the Shattered Queen on this character. So they're not doing that much damage in the first place. They're mostly just there to create space for King in the early game. So Cloud9, again, the clock is ticking for Dignitas, and I'm expecting Cloud9 is probably going to be the one coming out on top based on their prior success.
And I want to look at what lanes that XU can easily visit that will set up guaranteed kills. And when you look across the board, it's really just bot lane. Because while King and Isles will have the push advantage, they are also very squishy. So if they are super overextended and JJ is able to dodge out on the light binding or flash over it, for lack of a better term, and XU is there waiting, then you can set up a bunch of crowd control just through Leona's kit plus Deadly Flourish. You will maximize the amount of damage coming through, as both XU and Spawn have executes built into their Q and just overall auto passive respectively. If you look anywhere else on the top of the map, it's going to be far more difficult for XU because Darshan going to be super beefy. There's not really an easy way for Eclipse to set up that gank. And of course, trying to kill Copy early on is almost damn near impossible unless he is just completely in no man's land against Dark Wings.
I also want to point out something that Dark Wings has chosen to opt for. He has chosen to go for the early game Ghost. And watching LCK, they had a great explanation of this. I believe it was Lyric who was talking about it, or maybe that's at LPL. It was one of the two East Asian regions where we saw the fact that Graves going top lane with the Ghost up against Tryndamere. The entire reason why you go the Ghost is in order to make sure that you can maintain range against Tryndamere. As soon as Tryndamere pops Ghost, you pop your own and you start kiting him. You can't really use it aggressively after level 6. And this is another situation where Dark Wings, he needs to create as much range between him and most of the rest of Cloud9 as possible. You just want to make sure you're peppering people with rockets over and over again. And it's also part of why I'm expecting a very, very heavy AP build. Not really going to be stopping anywhere along the way for a Hex Drinker. Not really going to be stopping for a Ravenous Hydra. You go Ludens, Shadow Flame, Void Staff, you're just trying to blow people up from maximum range so that King and Isles in particular are going to feel relatively uncomfortable this time. But Cloud9, again, these guys look good. Mark, these guys look really, really good.
Yeah, we can't shy away from that. I mean, Cloud9, they're what now? 4th in the standings or 3rd? One of the, I think they're just behind 100 Thieves currently. But Cloud9, after that very rocky series against Golden Guardians, for the most part, they have been looking very dominant, very controlled in how they want to play the game. Whereas Dignitas, I mean, we still didn't expect him to be playing this well this early into the season. And having made their way through the middle of the pack standings is, to be quite honest, higher than what expectations were. But now Dignitas have to be able to find a way to continue improving on from what we have seen in the first round robin. I want to give it a quick update to everyone at home. We are in a game pause. Not sure what the technical reasons are, but we'll be trying to get into game as soon as possible. And for one more thing, Josh, because I want to talk about the solo lane setup for Dignitas, is that Dark Wings and Eclipse, because they're both magic damage, Darshan has to make a bit of a build choice in the early game, because he will never be splitting against someone that is primarily physical damage, and the way that you get to make, Spawn's life really miserable is by building a ton of armor. But you can't do that and not expect it to be threatened by something like an Akali or a Corki in the side lane.
Let's be real, Darshan does not care about spawn. Even a little bit this game, right?
Damn.
The damage reduction on his W just means that if you're going to be building resistances, it is straight magic resist. Like, if Lee
Damn.
Sin and Jin can stick on you long enough to actually kill you, great. But that just means like the rest of your map is going so poorly that Cloud9 is already in a spot where they have already lost a lot of the coin flips. But this time around, we'll see what he ends up doing. He's already got the grasp of the Undying, and now that we are actually into the game, we are going to be seeing relatively standard starts coming out from everyone. But I also want to talk back to the one other point that you were making, right? Cloud9 looking good. They have won 7 of their last 8 games. Dignitas, over those same 8 games, have won 3. Right, they are currently 3-5. Super Week was not super good for them, but to their credit, they had a very tough schedule going up against both CLG and 100 Thieves, whereas Cloud9 were able to beat up on Team Liquid, Immortals, and FlyQuest, who are all currently in the bottom half.
If they only had 2-0'd Immortals, so I didn't have to dress up as Renekton. That was...
Look, that's your fault, man. This is still Academy, right? Players are still learning. It is not the easiest thing in the world to play out all the style.
I wanted to win the bet
I could have told
so
you, man.
bad. Kangas got the last laugh on me. You live and learn.
The funny part to me was that was their first game. Like, immediately.
It's just one of those things. You know, Murphy's Law, if something can happen, then it will. And then they proceeded to win the next games. But,
Yeah.
already the early laning prowess of Caitlyn Lux, putting a huge dent in JJ's health bar. Gonna have to sip on some health pots just to regen back up.
That, I don't know why. I was expecting you to say something like really, really based there. Gotta suck up that red juice or something, you know, in order to keep yourself healthy. Eclipse walking forward, buddy. What? You see that?
Yeah, I did.
Am I the only one who just saw Eclipse do that?
I did.
That was not good. Anyway, that's a lot of health that Eclipse is going to be missing, and Darshan very happy with that. But we also get to see Darkwings just kind of having to walk away, the Corgi paddling his little bit of Corgi legs in order to keep himself safe. But the big thing is, it is so hard to attack Copy because he doesn't have a mana resource, whereas Corki does. And now XU is trying to go for a flip. He is down here. Malice doesn't know, but it's still a spot where he's giving up a ton of time in order to try and make these plays happen. The first one, not going to work out.
I mean, you say Malice doesn't know. I think Malice just wouldn't have cared otherwise, because he's already gotten past the point where XU potentially could have stolen away a camp, but doesn't find him in time just because the Udyr clear speed is so damn fast. And Malice is going to be out here before the crab spawns, so XU still has to just claim the blue buff, cannot fight Udyr, because Lee Sin, we know, has great early game stats. You cannot fight an Udyr in close quarters though, and the ghost pops. XU, if he doesn't have a ward, he has the flash. He gets caught off here. Copy looking for the flash forward, and that's first blood for Cloud9.
Oh, God. Well, apparently the clock ended at 3 minutes and 30 seconds mark. That is now
Oh, no.
Copy getting the kill and the double buffs up against Darkwings. We were already saying this was a tough matchup for Corki to actually try and punish. Now it's basically impossible because he has the reduced cooldown on his Q, he has the extra red buff regen, and look at the fact that Malice is doubling XU CS already, and because he already clears his first camps immediately, is now going to be able to go back into his own jungle, and his camps are going to be leveled up already, whereas XU still has to go back and clear his first clear of Krugs, which are specifically nerfed in order to prevent junglers from being too far ahead in experience.
Dignitas are going to look for potentially an all-in onto Isles, but it's just a huge health chunk. There's no aggressive summoner spells on Cloud9's bottom lane. It's mostly defensive so that they can get out of a 6C situation in case Dignitas ever went farther, but they don't burn any summoner spells in the exchange, and Dignitas still going to have this wave crashing into their side.
Yeah, this is very, very easy for Cloud9 to just kind of say, like, okay, well, make sure we ward up, and Malice is going to farm. Copy's going to farm. King is going to farm. And you have already been in a spot where now that Lee Sin is behind, he has to make increasingly desperate plays in order to keep themselves in the game. And look at the fact that he's getting invaded not by Malice, but by Copy.
Oh no. Is Darshan going to go for the body slam flash? It's just a flash forward. See what happens, because he knows that Eclipse doesn't have flash on this summoner spell setup. Solo kill for Darshan, and Cloud9 are quickly... I mean, you said the clock was over for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. If there's any doubters, I mean, there's more reason to believe that is true.
Yeah, so now Dignitas get to put Cloud9 on kind of a clock where they say, okay, well, in 30 minutes, Darkwings will be the most powerful champion on the Rift. But look at this, they are too late to the plate, and oh no, his spawn's not even over the wall!
Okay, well, but they find Malice right afterwards, but there's just so much damage follow-up from Cloud9's bottom lane. That's turned the whole play around. King is going to caliber net over to the wall, looking to track Spawn down. No flash from before. A flash forward from King. Isles does not have enough mana, but just enough for one light binding, and this is just absolute disaster for Dignitas.
Look, if this was not a stage game, the players would have already quit out. I'm a big Dignitas fan. I will say that, but I was wanting Dignitas to win. But from this position, right, they are 20 CS down in the jungle. Your top lane has gotten solo killed. Your mid lane is down in CS up against a Tryndamere. Your enemy Caitlyn, who is going to be coming into a power trough relatively soon, is now super accelerated, and Spawn is forced to go with a Ninja Tabai. The number of like crazy plays that XU and JJ are going to have to go for now is ridiculous. And so the question that we need to see them answer is, can they play effectively from behind in order to get to Darkwings?
Eclipse is going to have to pull out some fancy moves on this one, but Body Slam from Darshan interrupts the first part of damage from the Shuriken backflip. So Eclipse forced to use Perfect Execution as a means to get out.
Well, it's not going to be pretty, Mark. So, you know, you in particular, I know, for anybody who has only been watching this first cast of Mark and I, we have played on a couple of ranked teams in the past, right? You know, 5 teams we played in a rec league, and in our very first week, I banned Mark from playing Xin Zhao, not because I think he's bad at it, but because he puts himself in a mindset of, oh god, I need to do something now or we're going to lose the game. Tell me a bit about what that's like for XU in this kind of position.
Oh man, if I'm Lee Sin in this position, I'm like, if I don't find like a Dragon's Rage kick as soon as I hit level 6, the game is actually over. There's just, you are so pressured to find some type of advantage because Cloud9, under 8 minutes in the game, 3,000 gold ahead, a lot of their scaling pieces are already coming online faster than you would have liked as Dignitas. I mean, in the jungle matchup, it's just a 1,000 gold difference already. This is so detrimental. And now it's up to Dignitas to see if they can keep a cool head and then execute on the Hail Mary of a play that they have to make.
Yeah, I mean, they're just missing out on a ton of items. Malice now moving in. He's got the blue buff timer. XU is here, and Malice doesn't really care because JJ's also only level 5. They're saying, hey, we know you're here. Copy's going to come over. We are having an extra man as the Q goes wide. Malice will just take away this blue buff, not even choosing to give it to somebody else, and XU just needs to live?
Oh, tries to ward hop out. The light binding still finds its mark. Malice pops the ghost. Bear slap. It's a nice kick flash into multiple members. Can they trade one back? Shut down onto Malice for Spawn, but they still take out JJ, and Eclipse might go down, but Darshan already used the explosive cask. Will just force Eclipse out of lane.
Okay, all right. Respect to XU going for that play, knowing that there's no flash available on Malice, just knocking him underneath the turret so he starts taking those turret shots, and the rest of his team is able to put out enough damage that they get the shutdown and give it over to Spawn, who now has some double buffs of his own. So that's good, right? But now they need to do that like 3 or 4 more times in order to get themselves back into the game.
You can't just be happy with the one and done. You've got to really...
Well, you can. You can just say, all right, we'll go back and watch your tape, and this is the only part of the VOD we're going to watch again, right? But
I'm talking about winning the game, Josh. You can't.
Oh, yeah, see, that's very different. I'd like to clock out at a moral victory at this point. Just say, hop, not dead. Okay, so the other thing that I kind of want to look at is I had a game a long time ago, whereas me, back in like season 4 or 5 or something, and I was playing with a bunch of my collegiate friends, and we were all like, you know, mid-ish diamond players at the time. And we were playing a Clash game against Reggie, Steve, Dan Din, and a couple like other people on the team. And we were so far behind that we said, okay, our first goal of this game is to make sure that nobody on the other team gets away with a deathless game. And we did that, right? And then after that, we made sure, okay, we're going to get at least one turret this game. So we did that. And it's like, oh, Dark Wings?
So, is that the goal of this game for Dignitas, just to make sure that Cloud9
Yes.
doesn't have any deathless members? I mean, Copy might be donating that one. Dude, this feels like a Scrim moment with the play that Copy just made, because he's like, dude, my team is so far ahead, I can make this play, and even if I go down, it doesn't matter. I've created so much chaos just in that moment alone.
He chased him through 3 turrets and still killed him. Right. I mean, that's the thing, is Dignitas at this point, is the chance of them winning 0? No. It's possible that they come up with something miraculous, but this is the kind of game where you go into and you're playing a multi-game series, and you need to think to yourself, okay, first off, we need to put enough mental energy into this game so that we are able to punish any mistakes our opponents make, but we also need to divorce ourselves from the results in such a way that we are not tilted going into the next game. And that's one of the things that I think Dignitas should be looking at this right now, is how do we turn this around? How do we come back with a better plan next time in order to make sure that this kind of early game doesn't happen?
Yeah, I want everyone to understand that basically we are accepting that this game is really out of Dignitas' hands. It's not, like Josh said, it's not 0%, but the likelihood that Cloud9 will throw a lead is so little that it is more necessarily on Cloud9 to be the ones making mistakes at this point of the game than really for Dignitas to have any agency, because when we talk about it, there's really not much left.
Yeah. It not only needs to be mistakes from Cloud9, but Dignitas needs to be ready to punish them. And that's the tough part, because League of Legends is not a perfect information game. Cloud9 are going to make mistakes, but they won't know. Oh my god.
Come
Cloud9 are going to
on,
make mistakes, but they won't know about it, right? Yeah. Darshan's having a good time. So, I want to clue you in on a bit of trash talk that I know you already know about, but the rest of, the rest of the world doesn't know about it. Well,
hang on.
One of these guys is probably dead.
Could be Spawn.
Oh.
It was the cost of 2 summoner spells, Flash and Cleanse. He gets out alive. However, Copy might have something to say about that, but doesn't want to pop the Undying range just to use the pressure, the force, and zone Dignitas members away. As Cloud9, they still have a solid minute to take plates left. They had already eviscerated the bottom turret. They picked up... Okay, they didn't pick up any plates mid lane. I had to really zoom in because, my dyslexia was really kicking in on my eyes. But they pick up 3 plates.
Are you actually dyslexic?
No, I just make that meme
Okay.
because but my eyes suck. That's why I wear glasses. So,
True, same. I don't wear glasses anymore, but that's because I got laser surgery. So, Mark, I want to look a little bit at the rest of the league now while we kind of wait for Cloud9 to slowly choke the life out of the members of Dignitas. I actually got a game I'm really curious about next week because of the bit of trash talk that Dokla did when I was, messaging him.
true.
And he was saying that he's been preferring playing Champions Queue to necessarily playing an Academy because at least, quote, he gets to play against good tops there. Oh.
Package was used. Darshan immediately disengages
Cute.
away. Maybe the package gets used to save the blue buff for XU or Dark Wings. However, Malice is not going to allow that, and King and Isles are not going to allow Spawn to play the game, knowing that he does not have summoner spells to save himself.
True. But I want to go back to Dokla because I feel like Darshan is one of the top laners that I think could actually beat Dokla sometimes. Now, with performances like this, I don't feel like we can read a whole lot into it, but we actually get to see that matchup next week as well. Oh, a teleport comes through.
Okay, they're going to try to punish King and Isles overextending, but it's an immediate teleport answer from... Dignitas are like, we're collapsing. Never mind, we're running away. Oh, God. It's Udyr. Run. We can't get out. The explosive cask. Pelts Eclipse right into 3. JJ still on blinking HP bars. Final spark was needed just in case JJ made it out alive, but he doesn't.
They're so
Cloud9, they are pursuing. They're on the hunt. Spawn from over the wall. Can he try to interrupt them? But Darshan is about to body slam him and give him a ton of stomach. Forces Spawn to Gale Force away. Darshan might just have enough cooldowns to run him down. Tank Gragas doing so much damage.
I feel for Isles in this game because everybody else on his team is so fast, and Isles just kind of like, wait for me, come on, I'm trying to participate in the fight too. And you know, Copy and Miles just like, nope, we got Ghost. We will see you at the end of the fight. If you would like to help us hit a structure, that would be great because the fight is like so stretched out at this point, right? Cloud9 are ahead, but they don't necessarily have enough damage to kill a lot of people immediately. Instead, they just got to run them down, and Dignitas trying to kite, but that actually might give them, you know, a bit of an inkling. It's like, what if we just all build in such a way and play in such a way that we are constantly kiting out Cloud9 so that they can never catch us because we are able to pepper them down with damage because they're overextending. But then this happens.
Oh, Darshan just gonna really...
Oh. No way.
And Darshan?
Oh,
the minions griefed him! Oh no! Darshan was going for a little bit of a style moment, but he thought it was a little too hard close to the sun. Now he's got to get out of this one. Deadly Flourish does not connect, but all Dignitas members gonna... No, Spawn, don't step up. Okay.
Darshan, I was just talking you up just a moment ago.
He wanted to flex.
Look, Kelsey,
It's okay.
Kelsey and I had a conversation not too long ago about, like, you know, you always want to make, you always want to be happy, but Darshan missed his barrel on a stun target. I can't say like, oh, look how his Spawn dodged that one. No, it was just a miss, right? Like, the players are just having fun. They're just going for anything that they see, but XU, Eclipse is here.
That was a moment where it's like, XU's like, okay, don't worry, I'm here in case I get you. Seize Copy. About that. Good luck.
Sorry, I'm busy. I have a prior appointment watching these raptors. It's like dog sitting, but with birds.
I have a phone call I have to attend to. I need care to some chicken nuggets. Sorry, Clips. Maybe next time I'll help you out.
Yep. Okay. We got another Rift Herald. So I'm gonna have a guessing game with you, Mark.
Okay, I like games.
Copy. When his Ghost is next up, who is he going to chase down in a side lane first?
Well, Spawn is currently on the bottom side of the map, but he's rotating over.
Okay.
So maybe Darkwings will go over since his Ghost is also coming up. So he's the only person that could make a speedy getaway from a very fast Tryndamere. Oh, nice solar flare from JJ. They're looking for a turnaround here. A lot of damage on Isles. Eclipse finds it. Perfect execution. Okay, Dignitas finding something out of nothing. Darshan still manages to trade back onto Eclipse, and they are struggling with trying to kill Malice, but they eventually take him down. They're going to take him down, right? Okay, Dignitas, they lose XU thanks to an ace in the hole from King. And now, I mean, it's something that Dignitas are able to do, but they're still down. 8,000 gold.
My favorite part of this is the fact that Dignitas are still fighting, right? We get to see a replay of this, and they recognize that for the first time, they have a man advantage. They want to take the fight down, but, oh, I didn't see quite what happened, but Darshan just kills JJ off on the side. But Dignitas willing to pull the trigger, and that's what we were praising them for before, is their trigger pull is actually probably the best in Academy. They are so willing to go for fights and just say, hey, we need to make something happen. Unfortunately, you said it might not be Spawn. I think it might be Spawn. Crap, I was wrong too.
Got him. The Copy's like, you know what, Spawn, today, I don't feel like running you down. I don't feel like using both Flash and Ghost and Undying Rage. I'll let you live for now.
Yeah, it's just, and what do we say to Copy? Not today. Because he is the god of death at this point. He runs everyone down. But, you know, in 2.5 minutes, the Dragon Soul, Infernal Soul, is going to be spawning. And I think that's Dignitas' last chance to really get anything done. They need to flip that. They need to win a fight around it. And the problem is, even if they win that, it is still going to be a situation where they have to do that 3 more times in order to get the Infernal Soul. And Cloud9 are showing that they are willing to get to places faster. They are already starting to get the vision to actually try and take this dragon by already taking a little bit of control over here so they can see if anybody is going to go down and clear out some of the wards.
While this is happening, Josh, I realized that it wasn't just an 8,000 gold lead. It's now 10,000. And Cloud9 are at the point of no return. So I mean, you are correct that this next dragon is the point where Dignitas have to just put all their eggs in the basket. They have to go all in on a Hail Mary of a play. Even if they get the dragon, I don't think it will be enough. It is just so catastrophically out of their hands that unless Cloud9 just not only Dignitas has to make a good play, Cloud9 just have to do something disastrous.
Yep. So, you know, as they... Oh.
That's not disastrous. That is very good for Cloud9, as they just take out XU, one of their main members of potentially finding a Hail Mary play.
And now the inhibitor is going down, and it's after 20 minutes, so LS is happy as well that they are going to be picking this up, but I'm kind of curious where Dignitas go. Like, can you even walk over to the dragon? Like, I guess you can get your backs in time. Oh, wait, does Darkwings have a package ready to go? That might be something that they can play around. I actually don't know, though, if he has it. Right? They changed to Corky's package, so it's on a 500 timer. Means you have to use your package before the dragon dies in order to have it up for the next fight. And Darkwings, I think he has it. Watch him come out really fast. Yeah. But I don't know if he gets here.
However, Spawn and JJ are a little too early to the party. Is going to force a teleport from Eclipse. Can he get here in time, though, to save the odds here? Package divides up multiple members of Cloud9. They take out King. He gets routed off. And now Malice and Darshan are on the opposite side of Copy and Niles, but they're starting to rout off multiple members of Dignitas. Eclipse already using both members, parts of perfect execution. And XU gets sought out by the final spark. Darkwings goes golden, only to die afterwards. Copy runs down Eclipse, and this should be game for Cloud9.
We'll see how cleanly they're able to actually end it. King is dead, but Spawn.
Caught between a Gragas and a Tryndamere. You got nowhere to go. Darshan not taking any chances this time around. Lands the explosive cask on to Spawn. No style points this time around. It's all about cleaning out the game.
Yep, caught between a Grok and a hard place as JJ trying to defend. I don't know if they have the damage and the what do you call it? The death timers are so low. I'm not sure that the game instantly ends here, but with the Infernal Soul and the ability to now move over to the Baron buff, you know, we said that the clock ran out for Dignitas. Winter came for House Dig. It came really early. You know, I thought Grindhogs were supposed to say that winter was over, but we are past that. It's still starting again.
And we're at a 14,000 gold lead for Cloud9. So it is just very much... We are beating a dead horse at this point.
We are.
And
it is my favorite horse to beat.
Well, the horse in this case is Dignitas, and Cloud9s are the one that are beating it over and over. And it's quite painful. I appreciate, though, that Dignitas are doing their best to play this one out.
Wouldn't you agree that it is better to beat a dead horse than it is to beat a live horse?
Yeah. Oh. Well, you know, I didn't expect Darkwings to just get annihilated.
I did.
Well, I haven't played against many very good Caitlyn's in recent history, so I wasn't ready for that damage.
It's not just the fact that they have an extra item. It's also the fact that they have an Infernal Soul. So
you know, that brings up a fair point. You're right. This is why you're the color caster and I'm the play-by-play.
True. Is it? I mean, I literally don't think I could do your job. Is a bigger issue.
Oh. Well, thanks.
Yeah. Not because it's hard, but because it's emotionally draining.
Oh.
You saw that skit, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. We're having a good time. Darshan's having a good time. He's dancing outside in front of 3 people. He couldn't care less. I'll just soak up this entire minion wave. He's tanky enough that he could survive the very little burst from Dignitas as he waits for the rest of the minions from Cloud9 to funnel on in. Remember, middle inhibitor has already fallen. Bottom inhibitor has fallen. And now they're looking for all 3 to go down. XU looks for a miracle play. Does force King to burn both Flash and Cleanse. And Eclipse will finally take him down. But you still got to deal with the 4 other very fed members of Cloud9. You took down King, but all 5 members of Cloud9 are Kings. And it's going to be a little hard to get Regicide on all 5 of them.
Oh, Yep, a lot of damage. Darshan, he's got the Negatron cloak. There's no way they're taking him down. I wonder if they wait long enough for Darshan to actually find this kill. Nope. Just ending it.
Darshan's
So,
going, man, let me pad my KDA. Come on, guys.
to Dignitas' credit, they executed on the first challenge I gave them. Nobody on Cloud9 made it that entire game without dying. Unfortunately, that was the
True.
only challenge that they were able to get. And that was the most one-sided game I think we have seen thus far in Academy coming out from Cloud9. It was, as we said, the game was basically over at 3.5 minutes, and then it solidified itself as basically uncomebackable after they gave over 3 kills in the bottom river. So I guess the question is, for me, is how does Dignitas respond to this, right? They are down in a game. I know we're having a decent time. They were having fun. They were still trying to make things happen, but there's no way they're attached to the game. So how do they come back in the next one and say, yeah, we're ready. It's time to turn things around and actually find a way to win?
Yeah, and the answer cannot just be ban out Udyr, because then you're giving up a ban on Karthus, Evelynn, or Zeri. And so I don't imagine it's just a simple champion ban takeaway. It has to be about a playstyle. So Dignitas now either have to all in even further and just execute on this early game window, or we actually see Dignitas adopt a style similar to Cloud9 so that they don't get hilariously outpaced when the early game execution goes awry. We'll find out when we come back. And of course, we have our halftime show with Mazel before the game starts around. So make sure you come